What's going on, college football fans of the Fanatic Sports Network? It's the SEC Snap Count. I'm your boy, Coach I. Listen, man, we in here to talk college football opening weekend. First, y'all saw the title, man. It's week one preview. So let's get this thing started.
No, I got you on this one, Coach. It ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The Fanatic. But we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, 864. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The Fanatic, where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what I see.
That's right, man. I'm Coach I, man. Another episode of the Fanatic Sports Network. It's the Snap Count. We're talking SEC football, man. Week one previews coming up, man. Let's bring my co-host in. It's the guy, Stat Guy. What's going on, Stat?
Yo, what's good tonight, Coach?
Hey, man, we had to talk some football. Hey, another day closer. It's hump day, week 0. But week one is right around the corner. How you feeling?
Man, I'll be honest. I know there's no SEC games this weekend. I'm just ready for Saturday to get here. Let's spot the ball. Let some shoulder pads and helmets clash. Like, it's been a long off season, bro. I'm ready.
Dog, talking season this year, I promise you, has felt like it lasted a whole year, and I'm tired of it. I'm ready to put the pads on and let's actually have something to talk about, man. If you just joined us for the first time, man, welcome into the Fanatic Sports Network. We appreciate you, man. We talk college football around here, specifically the SEC. I am a Georgia guy. He is a South Carolina guy, but we talk all teams SEC. Today, we're coming in here to talk week one college football preview. But before we jump in, go ahead and hit that like button for us so we can share this content with more people. Subscribe to the channel and turn on those bell notifications so you know when we go live. If you can see it down there in the corner below Stat, we go live every Monday at 8 p.m., Wednesday at 8 p.m., and Saturdays to do what we call an emotional reaction to the Saturday's game at 10:30 on the Saturday Night Snap Count. Oh, man. Let's see, man. We got Ryan checking in. What's going on, Ryan? Said, y'all do call in. Where can we call in? Oh, you want to call in, Ryan? Listen, we will, just for you, Ryan, if you tune in weekly, we'll have that set up for you next week, and we'll allow some call-ins. I appreciate that, Ryan. He said, go Dogs. He already on my good side. All right, Future in the building. What's going on, all right, Future? Good evening to everyone except the ones in Norman. If you didn't know, he is one of our resident Texas fans. We appreciate you, all right, Future. So first, we're going to start this thing off, Stat. We're going to talk about the preseason All-American list. Anybody you think got snubbed? We got some Gamecocks on there. A lot of SEC people on there, but we got some Gamecocks on there. Dylan Stewart, namely Jalen Kilgore, I think made the second team.
Yeah. As far as snubs, man, I know they probably went back and forth, but if it's me, Garrett Nussmeier's the preseason All-American over Cade, but that's just me. I ain't mad at it.
That's just the Gamecock in you.
Yeah, that's just the Gamecock in me. I don't want Clemson to have no shiny toys. So, but no, I mean, I'm fine with either one of them. I think they're the two best quarterbacks in the country. But it's times like that you hate that that's a position only one of them gets that nod preseason.
Right. The SEC, like I say, up and down the first team offense, defense, second team offense, defense. Let's see. Who else we got from the SEC out here? Caden Proctor from Bama on the first team offense tackle. You got don't let me mess this name up. Armaj Reed Adams, Texas A&M. He's a guard. We got Jake Slaughter from Florida as the center. Eli Stowers from Vandy, tight end. Y'all thought Vandy only had Pavia. Look at there. Ryan Williams from Alabama, wide receiver. Let's move to the first team defense. We got Dylan Stewart from South Carolina, and Texas got 3 people showing up on this list, and we'll be talking about them a little bit more too. Colin Simmons as an edge for Texas. We got Anthony Hill Jr. as a linebacker from Texas, and we got Michael Taft as a defensive back from Texas. Also, who else we got out here? Tennessee, Jeremiah McCoy, one of the best corners in the game. With Weeks from LSU. Who else we got out here? Look at the SEC second team offense. Garrett Nutsmeyer, LSU. All right. I actually think he should have been first team, but that's just me. I think Kate's really good too, but I'm going just based off the statistics. Don't let me get tripped up there. We got Missouri with a guard, Caden Green. How about that? Parker Brailsford, the center from Alabama. Auburn, Cam Coleman, wide receiver. Second team defense, we got Tim Keenan, Alabama, Christian Miller, Georgia, Tarion York, Texas A&M, Harold Perkins Jr. is second team All-American. I almost forgot about Harold Perkins, dog. It's been so long since he was that, superstar freshman. You know what I'm saying? KJ Bolden is safety from Georgia, Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina, and the punter is Michigan State. Okay. Who's the punter on the first team? My bad, Brett Thorson, Georgia, punter. All right. We got some questions. Let's see what Ryan is talking about. Ryan says, I'm hoping we beat Bama this year. Listen, Ryan, I hope we do too. We got the, we got the home. We're going to have the home winning streak on the line in Athens. But, I mean, they got to show it to me. That's what I'll say. We do a show on Tuesdays called Respect the Hedges. If you haven't seen that here on the network with a whole bunch of former Georgia players, we'll get into the deep breakdown then when we play them. But, I mean, as always, we got a team that can compete and beat Bama, but can we actually go out and do it is the question. And until I see it, I'm kind of skeptical on that front. So what day we live? Hey, we'll be live on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday down at the bottom, 8 p.m., and 10:30. We appreciate that.
I was gonna say, you already know my feelings on it. I need y'all to beat Bama and Texas because I don't want nobody coming into Athens and getting that dub until my Gamecocks come back to town.
Yeah, as if that's going to happen. But anyway, Outlaw College Football said a lot of people think the Gamecocks are going to flop this year because SC lost so many players. What do you say to that, stat guy?
I don't even think it's because we've lost so many players. We've won 10 games 4 times in the entire history of our program. Like we haven't done it. We've had the hype going into seasons before, and we've fallen on our face. So until you can prove that you can live up to the hype, I think it's a fair question to say that South Carolina is going to underperform this year.
Yeah, I think you guys lost a lot on defense. We've talked about that, but you brought some guys in from the transfer portal. You still got one of the best defenders in the nation in Dylan Stewart at the edge. We'll see what he can do, this year with new pieces around him. Like my boy B. Shaw getting in and say, Ric Flair quotes, be the man, you gotta beat the man, right? And until we beat Alabama, we can't say that we gonna beat Alabama. So hopefully we get it done, man. Appreciate you being new here. Appreciate that, Ryan, tapping in with us. Like I say, we go. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays is the SEC Snap Count, where we talk about all of the SEC. On Tuesdays is Respect the Hedges, where we only talk Georgia. So you can tune in. It's all 8 o'clock during the week and 10:30 on Saturdays. All right, man. So we're going to get in here and get to what we said we was going to talk about, man. It's a lot of good weekend football coming up in week 1. Like I said, we do have week 0. Shout out to the 2 teams playing over in Ireland. I'll be tuned in. I don't know if it's going to be good football, but it's going to be football nonetheless, stat guy. And that's what we've been waiting on, right?
Good. I'm actually shocked, man, because that's Farmageddon. Iowa State, Kansas State rivalry game, taking it across the pond. Love to see it.
Right. I'll be tuned in. I will. So, but then in week 1, the SEC traveling to, not all of them traveling. Actually everybody travels. All 5 games we're going to discuss. South Carolina traveling the least, going to Atlanta to take on Virginia Tech. Syracuse is traveling. Tennessee gets a home game. Syracuse is traveling to Tennessee. Bama's traveling to Florida State. LSU is going to Clemson, and the big one of the day will be Texas at Ohio State. Let's talk about that Syracuse at Tennessee, man. Syracuse coming off a a great year under first year coach Fran Brown last year. This year he's replacing a lot of offensive weapons. The defense wasn't that great. I'm pretty sure he's wanting to change that, but I don't think they're gonna take any steps back because it wasn't all it was cracked up to be last year. They did have a really good offense. They lost Cal McCord, Jackson Meeks at wide receiver, and another wide receiver. Both of those 1,000-yard receivers last year. How you think they're going to replace that, or what they're going to look like traveling to Tennessee, who also replaces Nico, who to some accounts hasn't lived up to the 5-star hype yet.
Yeah. So the first part, as far as replacing the production they lost, their schedule playing in the ACC will help that. There'll be a lot of games where they can overperform and put up big numbers, which will help the offense look better than maybe it actually is. Man, when it comes to week 1, though, what a test having to go into Neyland. There's going to be 101,000 drunk Tennessee fans singing Rocky Top for 19 hours, miserable. But on the other side of that, as badly as I talk about Nico, I'm not a fan. I wasn't high on him coming out of high school.
Yeah.
He led them to the playoffs last year. And so at some point, that's got to mean something. And
did he lead them to the playoffs, or was he the quarterback on the playoff team? Because Dylan Sampson in that defense might argue with you.
Man, end of the day, he's the man under center. He's the man in shotgun. The quarterback, it's like the head coach. You win, you get all the praise. You lose, you get all the blame. And
yeah.
So we can't blame him for the Arkansas loss for running out of bounds to end the game, but then not praise him for getting them to the playoffs. I think both are true.
I think he definitely played a hand in it. He had some moments there. I think the stars of the team, who regardless of who led it, was Dylan Sampson, the SEC's leading rusher from last year, and that Tennessee defense, who I think finished in the top 5 last year. So, I mean, but now Nico's gone. They got Joey Aguilar out of, technically he's out of App State, but he went to UCLA, never played a game for UCLA, and then he hit the portal, and now he's in Tennessee. Some people are thinking, may not even miss a beat because of what you mentioned earlier, because so-called Nico hasn't lived up, to the 5-star hype. Not that he hasn't been good, but 5-star status is a lofty status. I think Syracuse going into Neyland is going to be a little bit of a shocker to them. You know what I'm saying? Because you're playing. The reason why I say that is you're going into a stadium with 100,000+. It does get, listen, as much as I like to give Tennessee crap, it does get loud in Neyland. It doesn't affect the Dogs, but it does get loud in Neyland, and Syracuse ain't the dog. So you think you got a guy who has been in college for a long time in Angeli, quarterback for Syracuse?
Hang on. That game's not in Neyland. They're playing Saturday in the Benz.
They're playing Saturday in the Benz?
Yeah.
How about that?
They're Saturday in the Benz, and we're Sunday in the Benz.
I think
it's an open weekend.
I think that. Listen, I honestly do think that makes a difference. That's on me. I thought it said Cuse at Tennessee. I didn't know they had the games. I thought the South Carolina Virginia Tech was in the Benz, and I thought TCU at North Carolina was in the Benz. Is TCU at North Carolina not in the Benz?
I'm not sure, but I know that Cuse Tennessee is, because I actually, when I was looking at South Carolina tickets, I was also looking at Tennessee tickets. I thought about going both ways.
Got it. So I think that's a neutral site is definitely better than a new quarterback going into Neyland on the road. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. The other thing too to think about with the Aguilar is he led the nation in interceptions last year playing in the Fun Belt, and that's something he cannot do at Tennessee, is turn the ball over, because I don't care how good your defense is. You give offenses short fields to work with, eventually it's going to bite you.
Yeah, I think this is one of the better matchups, not because I'm saying that these two teams are top 10 teams or anything, but Cuse and Tennessee, both replacing quarterbacks, both coming off a good year, better than, years prior, because Tennessee actually made the playoffs this time, and they didn't make the playoffs before, even though they had, some success. Cuse coming off a really good season where Kyle McCord, if I'm not mistaken, threw for 4,000 yards and had the 2,000-yard receivers. So I'm interested to see this one. I think Tennessee's defense, I think, will carry them, to a victory here. But I'm not going to be shocked. I'm actually, I like Fran Brown, former DB coach at Georgia, always shows love to Kirby. So I'm rooting for Fran Brown, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done on, down in the A-Town. So B. Shaw said, especially early in the season, Nico played well, not so much in the SEC season. Right. That's what I'll say. I'll say he did start out. He had, a matter of fact, Tennessee themselves had some eye-popping numbers, in those first 3 to 4, I want to say 3 games or so. They did go on the road and beat a good OU team with a good defense at OU. So, I mean, I got to give him props for that, right? So, all right, Outlaw College Football. We appreciate the super chat. It says, so question of the year for UGA, what is the key to getting over the Bama hump? It's been almost 20 years since UGA beat Bama in the regular season. Listen, Outlaw, you might have the question of the decade, my guy. You might have the question of the decade. I mean, at some point, you got to attribute some of that to mental. You know what I'm saying? It's not, I mean, if you look at it every year, the top 3 teams in talent are always UGA, Alabama, and Ohio State. I mean, Texas is making a play for some of that now, but it's not that we don't have the talent. It's not that we can't win the big game. It's just, I think one of the things I'd say is sometimes, I don't know if even last year, sometimes I feel like we coach not to lose. And that has us start slow against Bama the last couple of times. But if you go back to 2017 and 2018, we actually started out pretty hot on Bama. And then we kind of coached not to give up the lead and ended up giving up the lead because in both of those games, we go up 14. So I think they just need to attack the game like every other game and not because it's Bama. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is it. I think it's the same thing that happens to other teams when we play them because we haven't beat y'all in so long in the regular season. It's like, oh, we got to get over the hump. We got to get over the hump. So good question, Outlaw. Appreciate that.
And I would say too, to add on to it is, as fans, it's so hard to get caught up in streaks like that when they're not going your way. But you almost let it become a mental thing for you. We
Right.
both speeches of I haven't won gym in so long. And it's like for the players, a lot of the players on y'all's teams maybe have only lost to Bama once or twice. It's not as big of a deal for them as it is for us as fans who've lived through the entire thing. So putting that all on the players, I think you're kind of just setting yourself up for failure instead of just supporting your team and saying this could be the year.
Right. Ryan gets in and says, what's your take on Gunnar Stockton? And do you think Georgia's D-line will be better this year and the O-line? I think barring any injuries, I do think both trenches will be better this year because there were some injuries. But there also is, I feel like some guys that, like Jordan Hall hasn't played many snaps at all. And for the first time in his fall camp career, he's actually made it through fall camp so far with nothing, outstanding. So I think they will be better. My take on Gunnar is a great football player. I think Gunnar is a leader of men. I think the team rallies behind him. I'll be interested to see how Mike Bobo uses Gunnar. He's not the typical pro style quarterback that Bobo's used to. So, if the right plays are called for Gunnar, I think Gunnar can, be special, but he doesn't have to win games for us. I will say that. I think he has enough tools around him that he just doesn't have to lose the game. Don't turn the ball over and we'll be good. All right, man. The next game up on the docket is Bama at FSU. This right here is interesting because of some of the off-season chitter chatter, and it hasn't been all the fans. It's been the quarterback at FSU. Stat guy, your thoughts on Bama at FSU, man?
Look, I think FSU's going 2-10 again? No. But are they back to being upper echelon of the SEC? Definitely not. And you have a quarterback out here talking trash like he's been running the ACC when he's not even been going to bowl games at Boston College. Like, what are you? Why? I think he's writing checks that his butt can't cash, and it's almost payday.
Listen. He stood 10 toes on his statement. I think when they went to ACC Media Days, he said maybe, it came across, he shouldn't have, maybe the timing was bad, but he said he still stand 10 toes on his statement. And he actually came out and he said the other day after practice, he said, I practice against the best defense in the nation. That's what he said with Alabama coming to town. I'm just saying, I ain't saying Alabama got the number one defense in the nation, but I think I'd take Alabama's defense over Florida State's defense. Now, we have an interesting development for Bama. Jam Miller, broken collarbone. He's out at least 3 to 4 weeks. So their starting running back goes down. Do I think Bama has other guys that can carry the rock? Yes. That's not the question. The question is, can they pass protect? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of young backs don't play as many snaps because they don't know the pass protections. And a lot of times, so you'll say, why does this dynamic guy never get on the field? Can't pass protect. You know what I'm saying? And pass protection is different than just handing it off to you and running. They got to know all the checks, so it's going to be interesting. Bama got a new quarterback in Ty Simpson. I think the defense for Bama is kind of like Tennessee. They're going to have to carry them in the first couple of games until there's that, continuity on offense. FSU, we don't know if we're going to get Castellano from 2024 or Castellano from 2023. 2023 Castellano was pretty good. But 2024 Castellano, he was like a roller coaster ride. We didn't know what he was going to get. Didn't kind of quit on the team or something like that.
You wish he quit on the team. He got benched.
That too. So that's what I'm saying. So if I had to guess, I'd say I like Kalen DeBoer over what's my guy's name down there in Florida State?
Mike Norvell.
I like DeBoer over Norvell. I'm taking Bama to win when they go into Tallahassee. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably taking Bama. I think it being in Tallahassee will help keep it a little closer. And also, they're both new quarterbacks to the team, some major changes, but Bama will have the best player on the field at all times in Ryan Williams. And so I think that's what the difference maker is it's not like Ty Simpson has to do too much. We've seen Ryan Williams take little pop routes and slants and take them 70, 80 yards to the crib. So,
okay. Outlaw College Football coming in with the good statistics and nuggets for us. So he says many people don't realize this is the first time in college football history that Bama has ever visited Tallahassee. How about that? And Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, will take that first visit like 4 or 5 years from now or 3 years from now, something. I did not know 27, something like that. I didn't know Bama hadn't been to Tallahassee. How about that? I think the Tallahassee crowd will be in it, long as FSU is in it, I think they'll be in it. Now, FSU is going to need to run the ball as well. But again, I just think the talent will outweigh the talent for Bama outweigh the talent for FSU. Again, we don't know what Castellano we're going to get. We're going to get the good guy or the bad guy. He's kind of hit or miss. When he's good, but when he's bad, he's awful. So I think if Bama is just consistent, again, Ty Simpson, similar. He doesn't have to go out there and try to make crazy plays as long as he plays within the game and doesn't turn the ball over. I think Alabama's coming away with that win. So what's going on, Buckeyes all day? We appreciate you getting in. We will be talking about Texas and Ohio State here in a little bit. We appreciate you tapping in with a sharpshooter in the building. What's going on? Y'all make sure y'all go check out my guy, Sharpshooter Sports Talk over there, man. Hey, listen, they had a really good show last night. Had a former Alabama great on the and now college football analyst Clint Lamb on the show talking all things college football. So y'all go check that out. So FSU will play anybody but the SEC except for the Gators. Well, hey, to their credit, they got Bama at home this year. They got the Dogs at home in 27 or 28. Yeah. So they trying. Let's say they trying, dog. They trying. So next game up on the docket, stat guy, is the Gamecocks versus Virginia Tech. Listen, man, these are Gamecocks, man. Y'all got a lot of preseason hype come in. I want to say in the official coaches poll, y'all was 13, right?
13th.
Ooh, 13, top 15, man. I don't think that's happened preseason since Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Ooh.
First time, I want to say it's the first time we've been ranked in the top 25 since 2014 preseason.
How about that? Shout out to Shane Beamer coming in with the preseason ranking history here. Virginia Tech coming in, listen, I tell you what, the fans, you wouldn't be able to tell that Virginia Tech ain't, did nothing in a while by the fans on social media. They definitely think they're gonna take SC to the woodshed. Just give me your thoughts on pros and cons for South Carolina versus Virginia Tech.
Yeah, so the biggest pro is that you open up with a Power 4 opponent. So it's a little stiffer competition. It's not the best. It's not some of the other teams that are out here playing people, but it's a good opening weekend test. So you don't get lulled into that false sense of security by hanging 70 on somebody that you should hang 70 on.
Right.
The con is we've lost these games before that we should have won when we've been hyped heading into the season, and it's just derailed the season off the start. And so that is you almost have to decide week one, are you going to live up to the hype or not? And they have to play a good football game, because even if they win, but it's an ugly game or it's not a clean game, the nitpicking is going to start, and the South Carolina fan base is a crazy one.
Right. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Whether y'all joining us on Facebook or YouTube, man, it's the SEC Snap Count on the Fanatic Sports Network. We're here talking week one. We know we're in week 0, but there's no SEC football this week. But we are one day closer to week one, where we got a lot of good matchups. We've talked about Syracuse at Tennessee, Alabama at Florida State. Now we're talking about South Carolina at versus Virginia Tech in the Mercedes-Benz. We'll be talking about LSU, Clemson, and Texas, Ohio State. Is your first time here? We appreciate you showing up. Hit that thumbs up button for us and share the content, man, and get in the comments. We like to interact with our subscribers and our chatters. So I think this game is not going to be what everybody's going to make it out to be, where it's going to be sellers, maybe even against Kyron Drones, from the quarterback from Virginia Tech. I think it's more of Virginia Tech's offense versus y'all defense. You got Dylan Stewart, of course. Like I say, I think he's easily a top 3 to 4 player, defensive player in the nation. But you lost a lot in the middle. You lost wasn't Kyle Kennard the defensive player of the year in the SEC last year?
He was.
You lost a early round draft pick in Nick Imawari at safety, one of my favorite safeties in college football last year. You lost two or three linebackers. You lost Tonka Hemingway, Alex Huntley. That's a lot off that defense. Now, conversely, Virginia Tech lost 5 guys off of their offense that last year they had, not for nothing, they didn't have a juggernaut of an offense, but they did give a lot of good teams some games. I mean, they took Miami down to the wire. I don't think they lost any game outside of like one by more than 1 score. So I think it's going to come down to, can South Carolina stop that run? Because Kyron Drones is going to run. Virginia Tech is going to run. And can Dylan Stewart get pressure on Kyron Drones? And I think that's the matchup of the day. How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I mean, it's big because, heading into last year, that's what I told you the key to the entire season was could we stop the run? We had struggled the previous 3 years, and we did much better against the run. Now you lose the big guys in the middle, you're replacing them. And so now this year, it's the same question again. If we have success against the run on defense and make people pass against us, our secondary will be very good again this year, even with the loss of Imamore.
Yeah, and Outlaw says Lenoris has to carry the team. If Lenoris has to carry the team, the bright spot is that might propel him, as a Heisman favorite. I think that's a good comment, because I think week one is going to do a lot. You got a lot of potential Heisman candidates playing week one. You got Cade Klubnik, you got Garrett Nussmeier, you got Arch Manning, you got Caleb Downs on defense, probably going to get some love depending on what he do. Then you got Lenoris Sellers for sure. And if he does have to carry him, and he has one of those Missouri last year or Clemson type games, like especially the Clemson game, like if he plays like he did against Clemson, I would not be surprised. Like somebody else is going to have a stellar day, regardless, to not be, to knock him off. T Boomer in the house. What's going on, T Boomer? Appreciate you getting in here, my guy. Shawty say VTech quarterback can give South Carolina some problems. I do think that, because he is mobile. He is not as electric as a Sellers, but again, I watched him against a good Miami defense last year. I watched him, I want to say, when they played, who they lost to somebody, Vanderbilt. They lost to Vanderbilt last year, if I'm not mistaken. But he actually played pretty good. Now, he hasn't played as good as I want to say 2 years ago, but his legs definitely can cause some problems. Again, Dylan Stewart's going to have to be, disciplined in his rush lanes so as to not run right past the guy. You don't want to give up easy first downs on like 3rd and 5 because you got a head full of steam. You know what I mean?
And something to keep an eye on that could become problematic for South Carolina. We've already lost 3 defensive ends in fall camp for the season. And it was already a position full of question marks with replacing Kyle Kennard on the opposite side. We still have the other starter, Brian Thomas Jr. You still have Greer as the backup, but that's 3 guys for 2 guys of a rotation. It's like, how you making that work? So somebody's going to have to step up that originally wasn't planning on being a guy. So somebody's going to have to step up and make a name for himself. And
we kind of talked about this on Respect the Hedges last night. We're in a day in college football where you got to be ready to go because of all the transfers and things like that. Most teams don't have that super good depth like they used to. So things like this happen. People get banged up in fall camp, and now you got to be ready. You probably came in thinking you wasn't going to play. Hopefully you was getting those mental reps on the sideline while you was watching the guys in front of you. But now it's your turn. And then also Dylan Stewart's going to have to be in shape, which I think he will. Now, on the flip side, you got Lenore Sellers on offense. You got some wide receivers. The question is what's his name? Rasul, the running back, is he going to be cleared? And if not, is Attaway enough for at least this first game?
If Rasul isn't cleared, Attaway probably gets to start against Vatech, but Matthew Fuller will be the best running back we have during that game.
Got you. So what do you like? So, Attaway, I want to say he's kind of a jittery, a little something. He's not like the between the tackles, every single carry type back. What do you like about Matthew Fuller over Attaway?
So I guess I trust Attaway more in the blocking scheme. That's part of the reason why we haven't seen Fuller yet. Right. He'll be a redshirt sophomore this year. But I like the way he runs, the way he gets behind his pads. We've seen it at spots from Attaway, but then he's also had big carries where he's kind of shown a different side of himself. And it's almost like, dang, why is this guy getting the ball? Now, will Fuller be ready for the bright lights of week 1 SEC football? I don't know. But I think if he is, I think he's the better of the 2. And while he may not get the start, he will be finishing the game. Okay.
I think that's what's because the NCAA has been dragging their feet. I don't know if they're going to speed it up and have Rasul cleared for the Gamecocks. Hopefully so, but I think you guys got enough talent to go in there and still beat Virginia Tech. Now, I think without him, it's going to be a closer game than it would be with him. You know what I'm saying? Now, you guys do got some wide receivers. You got some guys coming back in Nick Harbor, Mazeo Bennett Jr., what's number 14? What's my guy's name?
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown. I know, I'm higher on him than you are, but you got some freshmen that you looking for, and talk about that guy that you think is going to end up making an impact for South Carolina.
Yeah, so we brought in 5 wide receivers in this last class, 4 of which were 4-stars, which was huge because obviously the depth at wide receiver last year was horrendous. But there are 2 that are pushing each other and pushing the rest of the wide receiver core to be great if they want their snaps. And that's Malik Clark and then Donovan Murph. Both bigger guys, 6'2", 6'3". Donovan Murph is a legit home run threat, over the top style guy, where Malik Clark is the body control for those like posts and stuff like that to hit kind of the deeper routes, but you trust him to go up and make the catch. But both just extremely athletic and kind of add something that we haven't seen to the wide receiver room in quite some time, since maybe the likes of an Alshon or something like that. Not saying either one of those guys are that, but
right.
they have the potential to be great at South Carolina.
So first game out, Virginia Tech. Who you think's the leading receiver? It could be a tight end as well, because you guys are replacing your tight end, who was one of Seller's kind of, get out of jail free cards last year.
My bad. I froze up. You'll ask it again.
I said that. Who do you think will lead y'all in the first week in receptions?
Nick.
Nick,
going Nick Harbor. Yeah, I
will
tell you.
Do you think that's because they're gonna intentionally try to get him the ball, or because he's made that much of a stride in the offseason not running track this year?
I think he has made a big stride, but I think the reason that he leads us in catches week 1 is because we try to force feed him the ball. But he's actually catching it this year, unlike in years past where he struggled catching the ball. Also, if we get the ball first, whether it's from winning the toss or losing the toss, I fully expect the very first play of the game to be a deep ball over the top to Nick Harbor. Just let Lenoir wind up, chunk it 60, 70 yards through the air, and just see what happens. Do I like that idea? No, but I think that's what we see. First play, maybe even if we don't get the ball first, it might just be the first play regardless. I think they're taking a shot.
I got you. And the thing we're going to finish off talking about, so T-Boomer says Sellers better not run as much this year. To be honest with you, talent-wise, I think this is a better year to do that, because he does now have Aaron Nolan backing him up. Still got Luke Doty. Aaron Nolan hasn't had snaps and things of that nature, but the talent is definitely there, and the freshman Cutter Woods, also super talented guys. So as far as talent-wise, I don't think Now, granted, I don't know if they can make plays like Lenoir's. Lenoir's is a playmaker, and they don't have the experience that they do, but the talent is definitely there. So it's not like they're void in that quarterback room out there. All right, before we move on, give me a prediction on the South Carolina Virginia Tech.
I was going to say, and real quick, the other side to that is most of his runs last year weren't designed quarterback runs. It was escaping pressure. And so if he needs to escape pressure and not get sacked, he can run twice as much as he did last season. Just don't take the sack. So, right. As far as my prediction, you want to be a playoff team. It starts in week 1 by setting a tone and showing that you're for real. We're rolling into the bins 38-7 over Vatech.
There it is. Outlaw says, so when do you think Georgia DC Glenn Schumann will become the next hot assistant to get a head coaching job? Now, I do know some people have already pursued him. I don't know if it's the schools that he won't, or if some of my counterparts think he might be the coach in waiting in Athens. So I do think he's one of the hot names that come up when a lot of these jobs come up. After seeing how Kirby is running things in Athens, all the resources he has, I think I can safely say he's not going to anybody that is not serious about football. I don't care what conference or school it is, as long as they're serious about football and willing to put the resources behind it so he can, be successful. He says, if the boy leaves for Bama in a few years, I like Bama. Listen, Glenn Schumann coached that. He was the first person Kirby tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, man, going into Athens, man, I need you to come with me. So he's already familiar with that turf. So Shawty said, yep, Schumann is the next up, but it has to be the right job. If like LSU or Oklahoma open up in the next couple of years, because we know both of those schools are going to give him the resources that he needs. Now, for Oklahoma, if things don't work out with BV, I'll be interested to see if the new AD stays in the same style with the defensive guy for a defensive guy. So, Glenn Schumann is a Bama grad. That is correct. So next up, it's down in the Bayou. It's a real Death Valley battle. You know what I'm saying? You got Brian Kelly coming out. Listen, I'm going to tell you one thing. Brian Kelly has not been shy about talking about how much they're focused on Clemson. A lot of times the coaches be like, yeah, we're focused on them because it's the first game. Brian Kelly say, no, we got the Clemson Tiger Paws in the locker room, Clemson up here, Clemson up there. He's making it a point to make it a big deal. Do you like that approach?
I think you're making the game too big. I think at some point you simplify things, and we're just going to play football. Yeah, we're going to play a good team, so we have to be at our best. But when you make the game more than what it is, I think you have a tendency to trip yourself up.
guys in the comment, how y'all feel about Brian Kelly's approach to this Clemson game, posting all the Clemson stuff, paraphernalia, whatever in the locker room. Every time he takes the podium, it's a big game. We've been preparing for this like nobody else's business, all of that good jazz. Let us know how you feel about that in the comments. So he did make the statement that said that they're going to they're the real Death Valley, that Clemson's just borrowing the name. It's like not only is he saying stuff, he's giving them bulletin board material and everything. Now, I can see on his side why he's making it a big deal. He's lost his first 3, openers, and then they lost the 1 or 2 prior to him getting there. So LSU hasn't been good in openers. So they lost last year to the USC Trojans. So he's got to make it a big deal. On Clemson's side, Dabo's in status quo for Dabo. You know what I'm saying? Everything's in front of us. Let's handle first week. These kind of things. Clemson brings back the most production for any Power 4 team. They bring back a 3-year starter in Cade Klubnik, Heisman Trophy candidate, obviously first team All-American, ACC champion. Talk about this matchup.
Yeah, I think the big thing is going to be the pressure. There is none for Clemson because everything is in front of them. They've proven they can lose the opening week to an SEC school and it not affect anything that they're playing for. For LSU, it's almost must win at this point because of how daunting the SEC schedule is. And so that's just one more thing to stack on top of it. Not to mention the fact that you're going to Death Valley, to Clemson. And because of that, I just don't know if they're going to have enough to get it done. Clemson really, I haven't heard them talk about Clemson as a home field advantage the way we've heard in the past, but it's still a very daunting place to go in and win football games. Now, I know they lost to Louisville and South Carolina at home last year. 2 years ago, the win streak ended when South Carolina went in there and beat them, but they don't lose many up there in Pickens County. So it's a
night game. Not for nothing. I think South Carolina did what they did last year and beat them, and Louisville did too. But night games in Clemson, night games in anywhere that takes football serious is hard to do, especially with that crowd. But I think you're right. I don't think they have been, mentioning the home field advantage for Clemson. Like, if this was a night game at LSU, I don't think you see anybody talk about this game and not mention night game in the Bayou. But in actuality, Clemson has been better, overall under Dabo at home than LSU has. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
I will tell you the one thing that I am not looking forward to is I know that ESPN and ABC are going to show Clemson get in the bus, ride around the stadium, and there better be somebody's game better be ending, and it better be a good football game, so I don't have to tune in for that 10 minutes of nonsense.
Listen, and then they say it's one of the best. Clemson, they say it's one of the best interests in college football. Outlaw says Brian Kelly is a farce, gives me sleazy politician feel. I don't disagree with that. I definitely don't disagree with that. LSU has been the early season weak link for the SEC in the past 2 years. Overrated is Kelly and LSU. I think we know who Outlaw's going with. Outlaw's going with Clemson for sure. T Boomer says Kelly about to get ran out of Louisiana real soon. I'm telling you like this. Certain schools have certain things, and LSU, we know their fan and their supporters are crazy. And again, you can win 8 or 9 games, but I think they feel like any coach can win 8 or 9 games in Louisiana. So this right here, like you said earlier, is definitely more pressure on Brian Kelly than it is for Dabo. Even though Dabo has, let me tell it, more toys to play with. They moving Peter Woods back on the inside on the defensive line. His natural position at D tackle, he's put on about, I want to say 15, 20 pounds or so to get to that D tackle weight. You got, for second team All SEC defensive end, TJ Parker coming back. They got Will Helt from Purdue, who was honorable mention, Big Ten. They got a new D coordinator from Penn State, Tom Allen. That's what I'm interested to see. How fast can these guys learn his system, even if it may be a lot of the same, concepts and things of that nature. the Clemson defense wasn't, particularly good last year. 80th, I want to say, against the rush, even though they have all these all-stars, and their pass defense wasn't that great either. Now, they do have some guys that probably go first round next year, but just because you're individually good don't mean your team good. So I'm interested to see this newly shifted, I would say, Clemson defensive line, who is on paper one of the better defensive lines in the nation, go against this offense, because if nothing else, LSU can score, right? If nothing else, they might. We don't know what their defense is going to be, but we do know that they're going to put up some points.
And the thing to watch is Clemson. They talk about their front seven. Their front seven is good. As far as starters, we're interested to see their depth as well this week one. But I'm most interested in watching Clemson's secondary go against this wide receiver room from LSU, who I personally believe is the best wide receiver room in the country, because it looks like a lot of fun is set to be had. Now, maybe they get pressure on Nussmeier and they don't get to open it up. The one thing about him, he gets rid of the ball so quick. He has he'll stand in there and take the hit because he trusts himself to get rid of the football. And so because of that, this is going to be a fun matchup.
I think so too. And I think you got Avian Terrell, who's definitely, highly touted. I know we're not the highest. We think he's good. We just don't think he's as good as the billing as they say. And then the corner opposite them, Jaden Lucas, we don't know if he's 100% healthy or not. He has the physical size that you want going against these type receivers. Now I do like Barnes, the safety. So I definitely, if I had to pick a favorite DB from Clemson, it's definitely going to be Barnes from Clemson. I like him. I like his style. I think he's going to come to play for sure. You got the linebackers, but they're not deep at linebacker. You see what I'm saying? So you got Sammy Brown, you got Wade Woodass, but who comes in after them? Again, highly recruited guys that are there, but not the experience that those two guys have. So it's going to be interesting to see. Odd Future says Clemson has good wide receiver room as well. They gave us problems last year, and also they do. They had the two newcomers, plus they had Antonio Williams, and then they got Tyler Brown, who was their leading receiver in 2023. Ended up getting hurt last year, so he didn't get to participate in a lot of games last year. He comes back fully healthy. Then they got running back. Now, running back is what we're all interested to see. They moved Adam Randall to running back. He has a running back body. Then they got the freshman Gideon, if I'm not mistaken. So if there is some unknown on that Clemson offense, it has to be the running back, and if the O-line can hold up. So give me your prediction on how this game will play out and then a score.
So my Gamecock heart wants to always pick against Clemson, ABC, anybody but Clemson. I've lost many a $1 dues on pick'ems because I won't get off of that. But look, this year's going to be different. I'm letting that motto go. You just can't anybody just roll in and beat Clemson in Clemson. And while I think LSU has spots that they are more talented than Clemson, as the team, I think Clemson's the better overall team. I think this game isn't the offensive shootout that everybody thinks it's going to be, though. I think this is your typical week one kind of offensive letdown, probably some stupid turnovers or stupid offensive penalties that end drives. I'm going to take Clemson to pull it out 24-21 with a late field goal.
Got it. So both teams have Heisman Trophy candidates at quarterback. Cade's first team All-American, Nuss's second team All-American. You can flip-flop them. Both of them, returning starters. I think both wide receiver rooms are elite. I think both offenses will score. I think the question is, which defense can get the stop? We always talk about if there's two good offenses on the field, which team do you trust to get the one stop that you need? You don't need to be, shutting the other offense down. You just got to get the stop in the fourth quarter or the third quarter to give your team the advantage your team like tennis, you know what I'm saying? And I trust Clemson's defense to do that, to make that one play to get them the ball back so that they can score 2 times in a row and get the lead, or to go ahead and try to, salt the game away. So give me Clemson. First week defense. Yeah, give me Clemson 35-25. 35-24. Give me 35-24 Clemson. And T Boomer says if Nick Anderson is healthy for LSU, he will be a problem for sure. I was a big fan of Nick Anderson in 2023, 2024. Couldn't get off the injury train, and I definitely agree with that. Again, but I will say this: whether he is or not, LSU wide receivers come a dime a dozen. The next name is the person that catches the ball, and he'll end up being 1,000-yard receiver and one of the best in college football as well. So,
and one last thought on that game, something we didn't talk about is Harold Perkins moving back to the edge, putting his hand in the dirt, and then simplifying the game for him and say, "See ball, get ball." I'm very interested to see if we get the freshman version of him that was so impactful. Now that they're not asking him to drop back in coverage and do all these different things.
Right. Well, I did actually hear that in some cases he will be in the flats covering. So I'm interested in that as well. Yes, he is back to his I would say natural position, but we'll see how much they just allow him to go get the quarterback. So last game on the docket is what I think we all will say is the biggest game of week 1. And that is Texas at Ohio State. This is a rematch of the CFP game that they had last year in 2024 with Ohio State coming out the winner. You got Arch Manning, you got Caleb Downs, you got Jeremiah Smith, you got Anthony Hill Jr., you got Colin Simmons, you got names all over the field. Now, Ohio State, this is the only thing. First off, before we get into the X's and O's, shame on the Big Ten for putting this at the noon kickoff. What are we doing here? We've been waiting and fiending for college football all summer. You take the biggest game with the biggest names, with the biggest implications, and you give it to us at noon? What are we doing, man? Anyway, Stat, give me your thoughts on Texas at Ohio State.
Yeah, the big thing when I started looking into these two teams is obviously both of them replacing quarterbacks, but they're 101st and 103rd nationally in returning production, both returning under 50% of their production. And so what that tells us is that you got a lot of new faces on both sides of the ball that are going to be filling in for guys that were very productive for you. This game is going to come down to which quarterback plays better in the big moment, first time in that situation.
Right. Got you. So I will talk to this. Shout out to Benji, another one of our Texas fans getting in. He said, hook him. He bought his tickets for the game today. All right, Benji, if you don't mind sharing, if you do mind, I understand, but if you don't mind sharing, how much you drop for those tickets, my guy? Because you will be up there in Columbus to watch the Longhorns play. Now, what I'll say about returning production in these two cases, they're a little bit different. Of course, if you lose your starting quarterback, you're automatically going to lose a lot of production on offense because he accounts for all the passing yards and some rushing yards, depending on who the quarterback is. In Ohio State's case, they lost a quarterback and 2 elite running backs in Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. So Texas losing, what I think everybody would gather to say Quinn Ewers was a good quarterback. Talent-wise, there's an upgrade there. We don't know if performance-wise it will show. Arch Manning, also, when you talk about quarterbacks, Arch Manning has way more production and experience than Julian Sayin. Julian Sayin's he's thrown like 4 passes. Arch has thrown plenty of passes and had almost 1,000 yards last year. He started 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, played against the Dogs. He's been in high-pressure situations. Both highly touted coming out of high school, though. Julian Sayin was just as touted. I think not because of the man, because of the man and name a little bit more, but Julian Sayin, everybody wanted him as well. Committed to Alabama, signed, I want to say even, and then when Nick Saban retired, hit the portal when they allowed those guys to hit the portal and end up at Ohio State. He's been named the quarterback. Now, Julian saying does have a Jeremiah Smith out there on the outside, though. You know what I'm saying? So, Arch Heisman campaign starts next weekend. Listen, we talked about this earlier for Lenora Sellers. We didn't really mention it, but Cade and Nussmeier in that same boat. This is listen, it could be a make or break. I can tell you that. Because sometimes if you play bad, or even if your team wins, if you don't play up to expectations, I'm not even going to say bad, then you could be knocked out of the race depending on what the other team does. And again, long shot, but there is a Caleb Downs on the other side that's going to get a lot of attention and to do if he can make some big time plays against this offense. I will say, outside of Dylan Stewart, the 3 best defenders in the nation will be in this game. Colin Simmons at age, Anthony Hill Jr., who I personally, listen, shout out to Walker for Dogs for winning the Buckets. I personally thought it was going to Anthony Hill Jr., but that's just me. But I'm glad we got the hardware though. But then you got Anthony Hill Jr. and you got Michael Taft in the secondary. Like, it's just filled with stars. So I think this is going to come down to can Arch go into the horseshoe and play with comfort. I think he'll be much more comfortable than anything we've seen last year because he's taken all the first team reps this year. He's got running backs behind him. Not that Ohio State doesn't, but Ohio State went to the transfer portal and got CJ Donaldson from West Virginia, who is a good running back. He's a big running back, I can tell you that, but he's had subpar years in the 700s. He hasn't had those elite years like a Quinshon Judkins. So I think this is going to be a good game. I don't know. I think the spread on this is 2.5. Texas is the underdog. I think it's the first time in a long time that the number 1 team goes into the week 1 game and they're the underdog. What you thinking?
The first thing I'm thinking is that just proves our point that preseason polls are stupid when you have a team ranked number 1 in the country and they're the dog week 1. Clearly we shouldn't have preseason polls, but I think that Texas is different. I think this is probably the best defense in the country. Going up against a redshirt freshman quarterback. I think honestly, Texas is licking their chops that they're getting a noon snoozer in Ohio and not under the lights. And this has all the right makings for Texas to kind of lay a beat down and make an example that they are who everyone thinks they are.
Right. Benji, stop it. Nobody believes in us, Texas versus the world. I think you're the only person that says that. Texas has been getting mad love. Hey, but if you don't believe it, who will? You can start it on your own. Maybe it'll catch fire, but I don't think so. T Boomer says, I feel like it's going to be a low scoring game. Why do you say that, T Boomer? Because of the newness of the quarterbacks or the caliber of defenses playing in this game? While we don't have the superstar names like Jack Sawyer and others for Ohio State, we still, like I say, we still got Caleb Downs. They only have one guy starting on the defense, projected start on the defense, that hasn't been in the Ohio State system. Same thing for Texas. Texas doesn't have a whole bunch of new people, only 2 guys, the two tackles on defense, but they had 2 tackles go to the NFL after the 2023 season. They replaced those guys and they kept the status quo. Benji says, let me get my Kirby Smart on. Hey, this year, there's no need for Kirby to do it because technically nobody is picking Georgia to win anything. So, but yeah, hey, get your Kirby Smart on, Ben. T Boomer says, I feel like the defense for both teams will take over. I definitely can see that. Again, Arch, even though, again, I feel like he is going to be more comfortable, but it is the horseshoe first game of the season. Typically, defenses are ahead of offenses. He got some good guys. Ryan Wingo, we'll see if he can step in. We know he's a super talented freshman, former 5-star, blazing speed. We'll see if he can step in and do some of the things, that the Texas receivers were able to do last year. If I'm not mistaken, they get CJ Baxter back. Is that right, Benji? In that backfield, who was supposed to be the starter last year and then ended up getting hurt. So, but they didn't miss a beat once he got hurt. Defensively, I'm gonna get an edge to Texas just because, like I say, they got it on all levels. They got I don't know who's the best defender on the team, whether it's Anthony Hill Jr. or Colin Simmons, but you got Colin Simmons on the first level, Anthony Hill Jr. on the second level, and Michael Taft on that third level. So I think this might end up being a lower scoring game, like you kind of called the Clemson LSU stat. I think we see something in the 20s for these teams. I think maybe you have an exciting play or two to start the game out. Both teams settle in. I think Texas comes away with the win on the road. Give me Texas 27-21. What you got?
See, I think Texas is going to Ohio to make a statement. I think they're going to the Horseshoe, and that after the game, we may see Ohio State fans overreacting and realizing that shiny new toy in the trophy case didn't heal all wounds, and start calling for people's heads again. I think Texas is going into the Horseshoe and coming away 27-7.
Woo! You said they gonna hold Ohio State to 7 points. Woo, Ryan Day. Not after the championship, Ryan Day. Don't let them do you like that. Hey, we appreciate y'all tuning in, man. That's been our week 1 preview. I'm Coach I. He the stat guy. We'll be here every week. If you look at the bottom, Mondays we at 8 o'clock p.m. Wednesdays we at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, all of these, and Saturdays for our emotional reactions to the games that day at 10:30. Also, if you want to hear about the dogs, you can tune in to the channel at 8 p.m. on Tuesdays for Respect the Hedges, where me and some former dogs talk everything Georgia football. We appreciate everybody tapping in today, man. Appreciate you showing up, Benji. Appreciate you, T Boomer, future Ryan Rakestraw, BNG. Again, who else? My guy, Ben Shaw. Who else? Outlaw College Football. We appreciate all y'all shouted from Just My Damn Opinion. If you want to hear some more good podcast talk, tune in. Jump over to Just My Damn Opinion with Shawty Parker, former UGA wide receiver. He got his own channel now. It might not be football, or it might be football. You never know with Shawty. It's definitely gonna be barbershop talk. So you can go ahead and channel over there. Shout out to Blue CBR, Buckeyes all day. So we had some Buckeyes show up today too. We appreciate all y'all. Appreciate everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Appreciate everybody. I said that, but Coach I, stat guy, Fanatic Sports. We out of here.